Ooh, fuck. Whoa, yeah, I know this one. Whoa. Huh. This is not from my movie. Well, I mean, once this is quoted by Obama, it's pretty easy to recognize as, yes, I'm the guy who does the job, you must be the other guy. That is The Departed.
Oh, who the fuck are you? I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy.
On The Departed, my dad, God rest his soul, had never come and seen me on a movie set, but he came the day that I was shooting with Jack Nicholson. He wanted to see Jack, and he was also very curious about seeing if movie teamsters actually really worked or what kind of work they did. Because my dad was a teamster, but he drove a truck and like long distances, and so he didn't, different from being on the movies. My dad loved the cinema. He was not impressed with any of my other work until I started acting. And then even with The Departed, he said, now you can call yourself an actor. I'm not impressed with the paycheck, I'm impressed with the performance. Whoa. Yeah, this one's pretty obvious too. I don't think there's gonna be any difficult ones now. We're starting off with this. Fuck you, Thunder. You can suck my dick. You can't get me, Thunder, because you're just God's farts. Is that Father Stu? I think that's Father Stu. No, that's Ted.
Fuck you, Thunder. You can suck my dick. You can't get me, Thunder, because you're just God's farts.
Can you fucking sing the Thunder Buddy song? Kids come up to me to sing that song. I mean, that and, you know, You Got the Touch or Boogie Nights are like my biggest, you know, movie hits. I've sung in a couple movies, so. Seth was kind of at the monitors, and he'd have a microphone, and yeah, we'd play. I don't think anything was like over the line or anything, but the rules were different then too. Okay, yeah. Hey, you promised me a shitload of fish. Perfect Storm.
And you promised me a shitload of fish.
Oh, I remember the entire film working with Wolfgang. It was such an amazing experience. It was kind of centered around this tragic event. And I remember living at the Crow's Nest and spending time with the Shafford family and going fishing with my character's brother and like really trying to immerse myself in that world, but also paying the kind of respect that I felt was necessary to the people and ensuring to them that what our intentions were and that we were trying to make something that would honor their loved one's memory. My mom came to the set and met George. I got a picture, and she had it on her wall. I think she liked that picture more than she liked the picture of her own kids.
Oh, he likes me a lot. He loves me. He told me he wants to go out with me. I had told him I couldn't.
But yeah, she was convinced that he was like hitting on her. I said, I don't know about that, Mom.
No. Oh, trust me.
I said, well, fuck, you can have a baby with him. I want a little brother. You know, George could be my stepfather. It's all good. I'm the one fighting, okay? Not you, and not you. You know why I know this one? Because fucking Paul Walter Hauser says this about fucking 3 times a day on the movie that we're shooting right now. Yeah, The Fighter.
I'm the one fighting, okay? Not you, and not you.
I trained for 5 years carrying around like, so you see these crates to carry the lights and stuff? I was carrying speed bags and double end bags and shit. We had the movie was a go at Paramount at a big budget, and then it fell apart, and then we lost Darren Aronofsky, and we lost Brad Pitt, and we lost Matt Damon, and it became an independent film with David O. Russell and Christian. The way we ended up making it took 5 years. On and off. So, but the thing with the boxing is, it wasn't like, okay, I trained for the 5 months leading up to the initial production schedule, it fell apart, and then once we finally got the green light, I could just kind of either pick up where I left off or kind of, you know, retain those skills. So the only good part about that length of time was it allowed me to be that much more believable as a guy who could win the welterweight title versus an actor who you've seen many times looking like, well, he probably has never been in a real fight, but, you know, I think we could cut and shoot here, and lots of editing. So, because we shot all the fights in real time, and we tried to make it as real as possible. No, it was a lot of training. All right. Oh shit, I see your mother driving up and down the street looking at me. I'll be your stepfather in about a week. It's by the weekend, I think. But yes, this is all improvised. This is pain and gain. This is me and that little boy on the street, my little crew. All that shit, most of that we improvised.
Don't eyeball me, boy. I see your mother driving up and down the street looking at me. I'll be your stepfather by the weekend.
This is when Michael Bay and I was our first film together. He and I met. I was about to do another film And I was like, no, you gotta let me tear it up on this one and let me go, which is how Transformers kind of happened. You know, he liked what I did in Pain and Gain, so he was like, hey, come and do this. Chaos, all the chaos, craziness. But super talented, as smart a guy as, and you know, technically, wow, the craft. Talented guy, learned a lot about filmmaking. Dwayne, I would say he spends more time in the gym, but I'm more efficient with my time in the gym. I am Queens Boulevard. Yes, this is Entourage.
You kidding? I am Queens Boulevard.
I mean, I remember the pilot couldn't get anybody to want to do the pilot. I'm like begging people, calling for favors. Everybody's like, doing a show about guys in the business? It's so stupid. It took, of course, everybody begging to be on the show and wanting to do cameos and willing to do anything to be a part of it. It was kind of loosely based, and then they couldn't find 4 guys from Boston, so they found, you know, guys, they set it in New York, and then you couldn't find a guy who was already kind of like an established actor or a star, so we found Adrian Grenier. He wasn't like the kind of physical rough and tumble, but definitely believable as a movie star, wonderful in the part. He did an amazing job. All the guys were fantastic. You know, it was the best wish fulfillment show of the last, I mean, it's as long as I can remember. Paul Walter Hauser just said this to me the other day. Yeah, I'm a peacock, you gotta let me fly. Well, I was 100%. The other guys.
I'm a peacock! You gotta let me fly!
You know, I'd met with a bunch of different people, and, you know, we wanted to do comedy. We had done, there's been comedic elements in performances, but never, like, really taken a swing at, like, full-blown comedy. Met with some other people, and I was like, oh, well, I don't know. And then I met with Will and Adam. We went to have dinner, like, 2 blocks from here. Sat down, started talking for, like, 10 minutes, just about whatever at the time, and I was like, I'm in. They were like, in what? I was like, you guys want to do a movie, I'm in. They were like, well, we have an idea, but we haven't even told you the idea. I goes, I don't care, I'm in. And then they were like, well, okay. I said, do you want us to tell you? And then they said, do you want me to tell you the idea? I said, yeah, absolutely. They told me the idea, that was the other guys. And then 3 months later, we had a script. And 3 months later, we were shooting. And then, you know, with Daddy's Home, and he and I got some other things cooking, hopefully, so. How often is it you run into your high school sweetheart after 25 years? That would be the union with Hallie.
How often is it that you run into your high school sweetheart after 25 long years?
You know what? The chemistry is off the charts. I mean, you've seen these kind of movies before. It is a great twist on, you know, the whole kind of spy movie. We started out as a conversation saying, okay, would I ever get offered James Bond? It might be difficult, right? I might not get the first call, right, from Barbara Broccoli. I might not get the call. But what if we had our own blue collar, you know, James Bond, a guy who's plucked from obscurity and thrust into this world? That was the idea, right, that we came up with. And then, you know, it slowly grew into what the union has become. What sets it apart from everything else is that the chemistry is off the charts between us. Step 2, there's so much we can do. This is not from my movie. This is a New Kids on the Block lyric. What the heck?
Step 2, there's so much we can do.
Fuck no, I don't miss singing. I just had to sing Paul Walter Hauser, and I had to sing this Gautier song together. Somebody that you used to know? Holy shit. I had to go in the studio on a Saturday in Australia with Peter Farrelly and him to sing the song. And then we have to sing it at a party with Sacha Baron Cohen. You know, we were much more into hip-hop or breakdancing and stuff like that. And then, you know, once, you know, we started working with Maurice Starr, and we were kind of like, you know, basically cast, you know, we started recording in the studio some little rap songs and stuff. And then he was like, hey, by the way, we're going to send you to vocal lessons tomorrow. I was like, that was not my thing. And I wasn't very good at it either, so. Whoa, yeah, I know this one. I want you to know that I plan on being a big star, a big, bright, shining star. Big, bright, shining star. Yes, that's the happening. Oh, Boogie Nights.
I want you to know I plan on being a star. A big, bright, shining star.
I was terrified because it was like, the pitch was tough, right? It's like Ted, you know, a guy and a teddy bear smoking weed. That doesn't sound very appealing, right? Or a porn star was like, I don't want to do that. I just come from Calvin Klein and all that stuff. I was trying to get away from all that. Showgirls had just come out. That movie was not successful. I had never met PTA, I didn't see Hard 8 or Sydney, but everybody was telling me how amazing it was. So I read 25 or 30 pages of it, put it down, waited till I met with him. As soon as I met with him, it was like, okay, I get it. And then I finished the script, I was cast in the part, and we were both 25 at the time. It was wild. Wow, that movie ain't getting made today, not at the studio.